Hi everyone, my name is Ramu Velusamy. I'm from Polytechnic Uttar thank you. I would like to present my research paper, which title as a study on learners toward informal learning space in higher education center or higher education institution. Okay, my research is all about this learning environment, which specify on the informal learning space. Okay, as what we can look at in the slide right now, this is the informal learning space that we can see scattered everywhere in higher education center. Most of the polytechnics or institute, we can see there is a space that we name it as informal learning space. Previously, this kind of space normally are not really recognized by students because due to the absentees of this ICT. So now in the current world, ICT becomes the main domain. So this kind of spaces becomes a venue, important venue for students to perform their learning activity, self-regulated learning activity. So we go on for the next slide. Okay. So what we can see in this third slide is we can see there is a big transformation from the old school classroom to a new learning environment where no more no more teacher centered. It's more on learner centered. So those kind of learners, we call them as net generation. So they are very good in this ICT, and they are the one who are doing this. They can really develop knowledge by themselves. They can get all the information in the net, and they will be such as self-regulated learning, which they can develop learning system in their self. Okay. So we go on for the next slide, following slide. Okay, so what we can see is currently in this new paradigm, we can really look into a new terminology that has been used in a current learning world, which is Internet of Things, data mining, artificial intelligence, a new media age, 21st century education, Industry 4.0. All this terminology are new terminology. In 19th century education, we don't really seen this kind of terminology, but when it comes to the 20th and 21st century education, all this terminology become common in use. So the question is our current learning environment is suitable or affordable? So that is the research question that I would like to bring forward. So we go for the following slide, and this is this theory that has been used in my research. Is about this theory of affordance. Theory of affordance says that the world is perceived not only in terms of objects, shapes, and partial relationship, but in two terms that object possibilities for action. We can see some when we enter a classroom, there is a certain portion that we like to sit. Some they like to go and sit at a corner. There is the corner that they feel like very suitable, because when we did the research, that space give a positive affordances. They perceive the space that make sure that they really can utilize the space to a maximum level. So in this research, we want to see the current space really afford for them to perform their learning environment. Okay, so this is this learning space typology that currently being used in education. The first one is this formal learning space. The second one is this informal or social learning space or multi-layered learning space. The third one is a virtual learning space. So my studies concentrating on the informal learning space. Informal learning space, that space that outside classroom, that used by learners for their learning activity. Okay, we can see there is several spaces, informal learning spaces that been used by learners outside the classroom. We have we call it as a transition space. Transition space, that means the space between two destinations. Okay, that we call it as a transition space. And we have cafe, we have library, we have faculty office, we have student center. All these space are informal space, but my studies are concentrated more on the transitional space. So the transition space are divided into three, which is the transition, the space, the transition between two destinations. So the space that located between the transition between two destinations, which we call it as the internal corridor, entrance lobby, foyer, and hallway. So this four space, we call it as a transition between two spaces, or we can call it as a semi-enclosed informal learning space. That's the space one, semi-enclosed learning space. Then we go for the second one. The second one is transition between exterior and interior, such as atrium, terrace, external corridor, and porch. So these four spaces we categorize in space 2, and we name it as a semi-outdoor informal learning space. And the third one, the transition space between nature and building. So there is a connection between nature and building. Those spaces are student pavilion, gazebo, green area, and square. So these four spaces, we name it as a outdoor informal learning space. Okay, so we can see, so in my research, I applied case study research. It's a learner's environment relationship. So 3 polytechnic are involved as the study contact. One is Polytechnic Umpoma, second one is Polytechnic Sultan Muhalim Shah, the third one is Polytechnic Seberang Perai. Okay, so as when we look at the slide, total respondents are 1,079 respondents. We are using multi-stage probability sampling. So from that 3 spaces, you can see a semi-enclosed informal learning space, semi-outdoor informal learning space, and outdoor informal learning space. We can see that learners prefer to study more on the space 2 and space 3, which connected with nature. They prefer to study at the space that very good natural ventilation, very good natural lighting, and there is some connection there. That means people can see and they can connect with the people, they can interact with people. So semi-outdoor and outdoor are the most preferred informal learnings that I identify in my research paper. So when we put it in the statistic, the MANUVA, when we do the MANUVA analysis, we can see that the mean value for the space 2 and 3, you can see the mean value for the space 2 and 3 goes up, even though in PUO, Polytechnic Umpoma, Muazzam Shah, and Polytechnic Seberang Perai, they prefer to have to study at space number 2 and space number 3. Space number 1, you can see it goes down. Okay, you can see the mean value compared to the space 2 and space 3 bit lower. Okay, so this indicates that learners would like to utilize semi-outdoor or outdoor informal learning spaces for their learning activity. Okay, so now we look for the following slide. This slide shows that learners' satisfactions, because these satisfactions can be divided into 2, that is physical affordances and also social affordances. When we put it into graph, we can see the social affordances mean value are higher compared to the physical dimension, physical affordances. That shows that learners really satisfied with the social provision compared to the physical provision. So we can more further research on it. We can say that what are the physical dimension that really need to be looked into. The first one is ICT, the second one is layout, The third one is the aesthetic, and the fourth one is the comfort. So from the research we can see that learners says that they need to have improvement in this physical dimension. That's why they give lower mean score compared to the social score. Well, the social score, the attribute for the social score is this interaction, privacy, semi-privacy, collaborative. So this says that the informal learning space that they offer now currently are very suitable for collaborative learning, for interaction, for privacy and semi-privacy purposes. But there is several attributes that need to be improved that goes under physical dimension, which is ICT. They need to have a very good wireless connection, layout. They might have a very attractive layout with a comfortable furniture. Aesthetic, it's very good, it's very attractive. Okay, it really can make them comfort. And the last one is the comfort level. That means it's a very good natural ventilation. They very feel comfort with these furnitures that has been provided, and thermally comfort. So there is a two dimension that really look to be discussed here. Okay, so I think that's my presentation. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to present here. Thank you very much.